Jack woke up. It was dark in the hollow tree stump he was sleeping in. He sat up. The new dawn was starting to reach into the sky. But Jack felt a sense of unease. It was eerily quiet. Not even the moving leaves dared to break the silence. Jack checked to make sure the packet with his wrapped-up treasure was still there. He felt some of the tension release as his hand felt the large crystal through the cloth he had wrapped it in. He put the knife he had been clutching to in the night back into its sheath and crawled out of the old oak stump. He looked around, trying to see through the gloomy shadows around him. Something caught his eye in the dark. A red glow in the distance. It was gone so quickly that he wondered if it had been there in the first place. Jack took a step, and in that moment the silence was broken by a rumbling sound that shook the ground. Frozen by terror, the only thing Jack could do was turn his head into the direction from where he could now hear the sound of cracking and crashing branches. What he saw was the blood-red glow of the Guardian's eye. It had escaped the caves. The horror of the sight set Jack to running in the other direction as fast as he could. He ran through the dim forest, hardly noticing the branches of the trees clawing at his face, hardly noticing the squirrels and foxes, boars and birds fleeing, the incredible rushing noise. All Jack could think of was running, keeping his feet under him. With every root he stumbled over and every tree had to move around, the thundering beast was coming closer. Jack dared not look back, even as the noise felt like it was right on top of him. The canopy of trees was so thick that it was still dark, despite the light of the now rising sun skipping over the tips of the forest. Jack's lungs were burning like acid, and his legs felt like lead, but the ever-present hunter drove him on. Jack burst out to the edge of the forest and nearly ran off the edge of the cliff stretching deep down. The bottom and the sun were hidden by clouds and mist rushing up into the sky. It was like a last resistance to keep the world cloaked in shadow. With a thundering crash, a tree came flying towards Jack, missing him by a hair's breadth. The tree disappeared a moment later into the swirling mist below, hiding the seemingly never-ending drop. But Jack did not have time to watch the tree disappear. He did not need to see the giant figure approaching him to know how satisfied it was at finally catching him. Jack had nowhere to run. Panicked, he looked for a way out. There was another cliff reaching into the sky beyond view. Suddenly he saw a narrow path cut into the cliffside. As Jack was scrambling onto the path, an enormous rock flew over him and the path slipped down the mountainside. Jack was stunned for a moment, as his mind was trying to make sense of what had happened. He was now truly trapped. Something within him stirred, and he willed himself to turn around. The guardian beast in its black plate armor was standing at its full size. It must have been almost 4 meters tall. It took its time in drawing its massive two-handed sword. The beast had driven Jack into a corner from where there was no escape. Jack held on to his precious parcel as he seared under the red glow of the eye shining through the slit in its helmet. All sound fell away as the guardian slowly raised the sword, holding it with 2 hands. Jack forgot to breathe. He felt his heart pounding so hard it seemed to break free of his chest. With whatever will he had left, he held his arm protectively in front of him, as if that might do something to stop the glinting blade. Jack closed his eyes as he waited, the seconds trickling by slowly, seemingly stretching into years, and the sword fell. There was a loud clang, and when Jack opened his eyes, he was amazed to find himself alive. When he looked up, he could see the guardian beast locked in a furious battle with something blindingly bright. Once the clouds shifted again to hide the sun that had found its way through the curtain of shadow and cloud, Jack could see that the blinding light was in fact a knight. His armor was polished so well it could have been a mirror. There were beautiful patterns of gold inlay flowing over the armor, like ore veins through a mountain. The knight was smaller than the beast and weaker. Jack wanted to call the knight. He wanted to tell the knight to run away or he might die. But Jack could not say anything. He made the shapes with his mouth, yet no sound could be heard. This is when Jack realized that there was no sound at all. It was like he was sitting on the tower again, watching things in the distance. It was somehow peaceful. However, this didn't last long. The sound returned like a thunderclap, and to Jack's surprise, the guardian beast was howling in fear. The knight was winning. He found a gap in the beast's defense and slammed into it with such force the guardian was knocked over. Now the beast was cornered. Without taking his eyes off the beast, the knight said in a surprisingly gentle voice, "Jack, the gemstone, give it back." Out of all the things Jack could have expected to happen, this was not one of them. But he got up and slowly walked towards the creature. He didn't quite understand it himself, after all he had gone through to get it. He went as far as he dared and laid the stone, still wrapped, on the ground. After he took a few steps back, the beast started shaking. "Take it and go," the knight commanded. The beast grabbed the polished stone and scurried off in a haste that belied its size. Once it had disappeared in the forest, Jack would never see it again. Now that the beast was gone, Jack started to be able to think again, and he was angry. He was angry at the knight for making him give away his prize, the only thing that could heal the rift he made. But before he could voice his anger, the knight turned to leave and said, "Let's go home." In an instant, all the rage that had built up dissipated, and the stunned Jack realized that it was not just any really polished knight. It was the lord of the castle in the clouds. As if reading Jack's mind, the knight said, "Worry not. I've paid the price for that gemstone. And how could I not forgive a boy for his curiosity?" And so they went home. After a long journey home, Jack and the knight reached the castle, and soon after arriving, Jack was back on the roof, gazing into the distance. But now he was just watching the clouds, content to be home.